Good morning, thank you for being here. My name is Rick Lopes, R-I-C-K-L-O-P-E-S, a spokesperson with the Contractor State License Board. And the reason we're here today is to announce the results of an undercover sting operation that the board, along with the Napa County District Attorney, conducted this week here at this home in Napa. Shortly after the earthquake hit back in August, the Contractors Board began its educational outreach, kind of a two-pronged approach. After any kind of a major disaster, it's not unusual for unlicensed and unscrupulous contractors to sweep into an area and start trying to take advantage because this is where the money's at. And so as soon as the earthquake hit back in late August, we began our educational messages to the consumers to be aware that this is going to happen, that people are going to come in and try to take advantage of you. And we also put the word out to the unlicensed contractors that if you do get caught in a disaster area trying to contract, that you're going to potentially face felony charges. So we've done a lot of educational outreach in the area. You see a lot of our signs around the Napa area, as well as down in the American Canyon and Vallejo areas as well. The next step is we've worked with the local district attorneys to perform sweeps of active job sites. We actually go around looking for construction sites, work being done. We'll stop, we'll make sure they're properly licensed, they have all their paperwork in place. The next step is an undercover sting operation, which is what happened here this week. So in this situation, our investigators pose as homeowners just like an earthquake victim would do. We look at ads, whether it be in the Yellow Pages, classified ads on Craigslist, anywhere where somebody's advertising to do earthquake-related work, and those are the people we targeted to bring out to this sting operation. And what we do is we act just like the homeowner. You know, as you can see at the house behind me, that there's some masonry work, and inside there's a lot of cracked walls and drywall work that needs to be done. So we were specifically focusing on the people that do those two trades. We called them out here and asked us to give us a bid for the job. Now in California, any job that's more than $500 in both labor and materials, the people need to have a contractor's license issued by the state to do that. And so we called people out to give us a bid. If that bid was more than $500, and then we identified that they did not have a contractor's license, at that point they're in violation of the law. Now what normally happens in our sting operations, which we conduct every week somewhere in the state, is normally they're given what's called a notice to appear and they're going to face a misdemeanor charge. But what happens when there's a declared state of emergency or disaster declaration, that can be charged as a felony. And the word was out there, early on to the unlicensed contractors, if you get caught, you could face a felony, and that's exactly what's going to be happening here. We caught a total of 8 people who were trying to contract for earthquake-related work. So those people, though they were not arrested here on the scene, they were processed, and the information is going to be turned over to the Napa County District Attorney's Office. They will go to get the warrant, and the people will be arrested at a later time, but they are going to look at facing felony charges for contracting without a license. So those 8 people that are going to be facing those felony charges. We did have one additional felony charge that wasn't earthquake related. The law talks about license. When you're advertising, you have to have your license number in your advertising, or it needs to state that you're not licensed. We had somebody come out here who had a website indicating that they had a landscaping license, so we brought them out here, and were not licensed. So they were not arrested on site, but they are going to be facing a felony charge similar to the earthquake one. So it's getting a little bit tricky, and not really at the focus of our operation was earthquake, but that did happen and we couldn't turn our backs on it. Another 4 people also were invited out that gave us bids for unrelated work to the earthquake. One was to do some concrete, we had fencing, so we had some other people that we were aware of. We brought them out, stung them as well. They actually did get notices to appear. They were arrested and cited. They'll be going to court in November. The date's on the press release there. So there was a total of 12 people directly related to the sting, 8 of those related to the earthquake, and then we had that one person who had illegal advertising. So there's a total of 13 people. In the press release, you'll see the number is 12. I didn't include that one, but as I got more information, we're going to include it. So it was a total of 13 people that were arrested. 8 of them were related to the earthquake and specifically coming to make earthquake repairs. And so the message is really simple for the homeowners here is to be vigilant. Now it's been a little bit over a month since the earthquake. Many of you are now settling with your insurance companies, having checks in your hands, really ready to begin the rebuilding or repair process, is to be aware that there's unlicensed and unscrupulous people that are going to be out there trying to take advantage of you. It really would heed you to do your homework, make sure you hire a licensed, a competent contractor, do your homework, do research, check their license, make sure they're properly licensed. And there's just a lot of simple things you can do to make sure you're hiring somebody who's really going to do a good job for you. Because the last thing we'd want is you to become a victim a second time. So homeowners, please do the homework. lean on the contractors board and other people here in the earthquake area that can help you get the information that you need to get a good job. And the word continues to be for the unlicensed contractors is we're not just going to do one sting and leave. We've been here for weeks now. We're going to keep an increased presence in this area. You can certainly expect more sweeps and even sting operations to be conducted in the future. So if you're thinking about coming into the Napa or American Canyon or Vallejo areas to do earthquake repair work, is you don't know when you pick up the phone to answer it and come out and give a bid. You don't know if you're actually giving a bid to an earthquake victim or if you're giving a bid to one of our investigators. So think twice about that, because the district attorney's office and the contractors board are very serious about prosecuting these cases as felonies, because they're taking advantage of people that have already been victimized. That's what the law says. That's what the prosecutors are going to be doing. I also wanted to invite up Allison Haley as the Chief Deputy District Attorney with Napa County. She can speak more specifically about what's going to be happening next and the District Attorney's role in the whole operation. Allison?
Certainly. Good morning. My name is Allison Haley, A-L-L-I-S-O-N-H-A-L-E-Y. I'm the Chief Deputy District Attorney in Napa County. Our goal in this operation was to ensure that homeowners and residents are getting their work done, getting it done properly and safely. These are people that have already been victimized by an earthquake. We are doing everything we can to prevent second victimization of these parties. There was some question as to why the felons were not arrested. I know that that's come up in some of the questions that I've received this morning. Ordinarily, they would. They would be taken to jail and processed in the ordinary course. However, our jail has been so compromised as a result of the earthquake that we were not able to do business as usual. In light of that, the people will be following up with each of these subjects regarding their respective cases. Okay, thank you.
Can you speak a little bit about why they face felony charges in this particular?
In an ordinary situation, contracting without a license is a misdemeanor. However, when there's been a declaration of a disaster area, as has been done both by the governor of the state of California and by the president of the United States, those crimes have been elevated into felonies.
You know, beyond the facts, how do the people in your office feel about these kinds of things taking place here after this disaster?
Exactly what I said. We are here to prevent second victimization by people who are particularly vulnerable, that are outside of their homes, that have been victimized both emotionally and financially by the earthquake. That's why we're here, is to make sure that it does not happen, and we're honoring those people who properly keep their licenses, properly follow the rules of the Contractor State Licensing Board, and make sure that all of the work that is being done is done properly, is done safely, and protects our residents.
Are you hearing any stories about?
If they were arrested, were their names just taken, or were they cited, or what was the procedure on that?
I might have to defer to Mike Fry. However, as I understand it, those parties were interviewed at the scene. That information will be drawn up in a police report, and that will be formally submitted to the district attorney's office within 6 weeks.
Are there stories you have heard since the earthquake of people who've been ripped off by unlicensed contractors who've lost money? Are you guys investigating any other cases along?
We've absolutely heard from yesterday. Just for example, we had one party who made an outrageous bid for pouring new concrete, $15,000, but said that if the homeowner was willing to bypass that pesky workman's comp, they would do it for $10,000 if they would, quote, keep the government out of it. We are here to prevent that from continuing to happen. Thank you very much.
Do you happen to know how many homeowners have been affected by these types of scams in the Napa area?
I certainly don't have an accurate number at this time. There is some reticence to report this kind of undertaking, and I'm not sure if I can pinpoint why that is. All I can tell you is that those cases that are being referred to the district attorney's office will be taken very seriously. It's why I'm here this morning, to make sure that that message is conveyed.
I can tell you, as far as the Contractors Board is concerned, we've not yet received any complaints from the Napa area, and that's not necessarily surprising. It's only been a few weeks, and right now the people are getting the insurance checks in their hands and just starting to begin the work. Usually we hear, unfortunately, about it down the road a little bit when there's problems. I wanted to go ahead and talk just briefly about some of the red flags that the homeowners should think about when they're trying to do this, or they have people trying to solicit them, because it's not unusual for them to have flyers show up on their front door, to get knocks on their front door, and to get solicited. Some of the things that the homeowner should think about is obviously you want to make sure that they're properly licensed. And if they come to you, you want to ask them. If they have an advertisement, as I mentioned earlier, the law requires that they have to have their license number in that. So the first thing you should do is you should look for somewhere for a 6-digit number somewhere in that advertisement and come to our website, or we have a toll-free automated line where you can actually find out if they're active license and if there's any actions we've taken against them. The other thing you want to be real careful about is if they don't want to give you a written contract and they ask you for a large down payment up front. That's another sure sign that they may be trying to take advantage of you. It's not unusual for a contractor, especially an unlicensed contractor, to ask something like, I need 50% to get started. I got to go buy materials. I have to get everything ready. California law is very specific about down payments. It says you can ask for no more than 10% or $1,000 of the entire contract, whichever is less. So with some of these contracts, we're talking about $10,000 contracts, these huge bids, and they're asking for $5,000 up front. If you just think logically about that, you've met somebody, 15 minutes later you're giving them a check for $5,000. What's to say they're ever going to come out and actually do the work? And so you're setting yourself up. So it's important to know that there is a limitation about the down payment. So if somebody's asking for a huge down payment up front, that's going to be a sign they're going to be trying to take advantage of you. Another thing you want to ask about is workers' compensation insurance. A lot of these people have crews working on your property. Unlicensed people never carry workers' comp. And quite honestly, some licensed people who are required to carry workers' comp don't. So it's something as a homeowner you want to ask. You want to make sure that the people working on your property are properly insured in case they get hurt. Because if they're not, there's a very good chance they're going to come after you to pay for their hospital bills and medical care. And your homeowner's insurance may not cover them, especially because they weren't licensed to be doing that work, and you shouldn't have had them there in the first place. So those are a couple of things that you really want to watch out for. Any concerns? We have a toll-free line that's set up Monday through Friday from 8 to 5 for disaster victims. We'd encourage them to call us up. Go to our website. There's a lot of great information that you can get there, things that you can do to protect yourself. And again, I would echo the District Attorney's Office comments about the unlicensed contractors. The Contractors Board also takes this seriously. We're going to continue our efforts to make sure that we try to get these people to go do their unlicensed contracting somewhere else. Don't do it here in the earthquake area. I'm happy to entertain any other questions too.
Is it hard to verify that 6-digit number? Is there a place on the web to go and
You can go to our website, and there's a couple different addresses. Our main government address is cslb.ca.gov. You can also go, it's checkthelicencefirst.com. And you can do it, you can search 3 different ways. You can either actually plug the license number in if you have it. You can also plug it in the business name. You can search that way as well, or you can actually search by an individual's name, and it will tell you if they're part of any license. And I would encourage the people too is ask to see a picture ID. Also, the licensed contractors are required by law to carry a pocket card with them, a pocket license. It's a plastic card about the size of a credit card. You want to ask them to see it, maybe ask to see their picture ID, make sure it's the right person. Think of a contractor's license like a driver's license. You can't let somebody else drive with your driver's license. Sometimes we'll get these people and say, well, I'm working under my buddy's license. Well, it doesn't work that way unless you're a bona fide employee, have payroll deductions, workers' comp, all those kinds of things. So there's lots of lines. These people are very slick salespeople, especially in a time when you're especially vulnerable after the earthquake, is just because these people say you can trust them, don't think you can trust them.
What were some of the excuses that people gave you when they were either caught up in a sweep or a sting? Other things they might have said?
Well, I'll be quite honest with you, I wasn't here at this operation. We can talk to one of our investigators. We have a couple of the investigators who were here. But commonly, they're surprised. In some cases, they're not getting caught for the first time. The majority of people we catch in stings get caught once, and they either figure, I'm going to go get my license, or I'm going to go find something else to do, and we'll help them. We'll give them an application package. We'll give them our business card. We'll help you get your license. Our goal isn't necessarily to put these people out of work. Our goal is to make the playing field level for everybody. Get them a license, get their insurance, get everything in place so that the consumers are protected. A lot of times, so you'll see these first-time people who are, well, I was just trying to put food on the table. It's like, we understand, well, we will help you to do it right, because it's not fair for everybody. It's not fair to the people you're trying to have as your clients. And so you'll hear some of those people talking about, the fact that they're really nervous about it. And it can be kind of an overwhelming time when all of a sudden you've got the law enforcement, especially in a sting operation. They come out of nowhere when it's time to actually announce themselves. And so people get a little bit little shocked and scared when they see that. We try to keep it as low key as possible. There's other times where we've caught people before and they're gonna, yeah, you got me again. I kind of thought it might be a sting, but I got caught again. And we have some people, outright that that are trying to stay one step ahead of us, and so we have to go to some unusual extents to try to disguise the fact that it's a sting operation. So you get a whole realm of people that we catch. Okay, anything else?